Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of our national anthem.
Baseball fans, you're listening to Babes.
Welcome back to Babes. While I have kept things afloat on social media over the last year, it's actually almost been a year since I've done my own episode. So it's a true honor to have this special guest here as my first guest of the Revival Tour. I am your host, Jonna, and today we've got an unforgettable guest joining us. You might know Liz McGuire from one of the most viral baseball moments in recent memory, the time Bo Bichette launched a foul ball straight into her head. We'll hear her firsthand account of that wild day, the aftermath of going viral, and whether she's gotten a message from Bo himself. But beyond that, Liz is also a huge baseball fan, and we're going to talk about how she fell in love with the game, her favorite teams and players, and what it's really like to experience a big league moment that people still talk about today. All right, Liz, first off, welcome to the show, and thank you for agreeing to do this.
Thanks for having me, bud. I'm super, super pumped to be here.
So excited to hear all about your experience, your life as a fan, all the good things. So I always start off with what I call around the horn, which makes more sense when there are more than two of us here. But nonetheless, It's a fun question that we toss around to kick things off before we get into the serious questions. So here it goes. I actually have two of them. But first, do you mind if I share a little clip?
Let's go.
Okay. Let me find it. Sorry, I'm not very prepared.
We do our best.
Scotty, keep your eye on the ball.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
What happened? Honey, get some ice.
I got it.
Ice.
Here.
Those are tennis. Oh,
Okay, just hold it up there. Nice and hard. Press it against. Yeah.
I just took my eye off the ball, Mom.
Yeah, but at least you caught it.
Oh.
All right. Just keep that on for like an hour.
Okay. So with that, what is your favorite baseball movie? And then secondly, what is your walk-up song?
Okay. All right. This is a great question. My favorite baseball movie, I feel like is overlooked. Maybe it's not, but I feel like it is. And it's a league of their own, right? I love that baseball movie. It's about women's role in baseball. It's about teamwork. It's about overcoming. I know all baseball movies are about overcoming odds, but it's like they're not the women aren't the main. They're not the Susan Sarandons, right? Although God bless Susan Sarandon, right? But yeah, League of Their Own is my favorite baseball movie, and I loved it before I even realized it was a baseball movie because it's such a great movie. I will say that there's a lot of good baseball movies. Okay, I'm going to tell you one that I have an inherent problem with. Just quickly, it's Field of Dreams. There's a scene in Field of Dreams where a young girl choking on a hot dog, and Kevin Costner's like, I'm not going to call the doctor. I'm going to let this baseball ghost handle it. And I'm like, what? That's insane. He's choking. And you're like, I bet this, and the wife's like, what? And everybody's like, I bet the baseball ghost is going to save this kid. Anyway, that's
a problem. I've actually never even thought about that scene. It's just one of those things that just kind of passes you by because it's not the main moment of the movie. But that's a great point. Just let her choke. That's fine. Let's
I
get
don't know where like the baseball ghost. But the thing is, when the baseball ghost crosses the field, you can never play baseball again. So that's a lot to ask of somebody.
Yeah, totally. That's a good answer. I like that.
Yeah.
My favorite baseball movie, Sandlot. That's why I played it. But I love your answer, League of Their Own. I actually met Mabel Blair 2 summers ago. She's amazing. She's incredible.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they played in skirts.
Yeah, I know. And like slid with they didn't have sliders. Sliders weren't a thing.
No, they didn't. That's like, and their uniforms were so cool. In that league, even like you look at the uniforms, like the league that inspired, I guess, the Rockford Peaches. Oh, they were banging. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to Rockford 2 summers ago. My mom and I, we went up there. We watched the U.S. women's team. They were playing they were on their way to Canada, actually, and they were playing in an exhibition game. So that was really cool. Got to meet like Veronica Alvarez, the manager of the U.S. team. But yeah, then Mabel was there. It was so cool. So cool.
So cool.
Okay. So, what would your walk-up song be?
Okay, I have 2 answers to this one. It's a thing that we all think about. Actually, I have it. So it would probably be Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen.
Yes.
Born to Run. Or Sugar Sugar by the Archies, because damn, that's catchy. And like,
that.
It's like, I'd be like, I can hit this ball. I mean, Sugar Sugar, it's so kitschy. It's so sweet. It's so fun. So yeah, I think one of those.
I grew up on the movie Now and Then. And that whole album is like so banging, but Sugar Sugar is on there. Yeah, and I don't know. It's probably not when they're playing baseball, but gotta love Roberta in that movie, showing the boys what's up.
What's up? Yeah. Anyway, so that's my answer. It's not like, I don't know. I know there's like a lot of different answers, but I think Sugar Sugar is the answer. It will strike fear into my opponents. No, but they will have a toe tap and good time.
I love that answer. That's great. Okay, so let's get into baseball. I want to ask how and when you first became a fan. Was it a family thing? Did you discover it on your own?
Yeah. So this is weird. It's like baseball in Canada is a little different because it's new. Like we had 2 teams with the Expos and the Jays. I think the Expos were there first, but the Jays, we didn't get the Jays till 1977. So there's not a lot of deep, like everyone, would cheer for probably like Boston or the Yankees where I'm from, because I'm from the east of Canada, like in Ontario, but still the east side of the country. And like the Jays were fairly new. So, there's no big deep history of families in baseball and going to baseball games. I mean, you'd have a local team that you go to maybe, but like no MLB teams. So there's pictures of, this is the rumor, and I'm pretty sure it's true. My first sentence was, "Okay, Blue Jays, let's play ball." And it wasn't unprompted. Like I have 2 older brothers, and I think it would have been like the novelty song at the time. Maybe we had the tape or something, right? And they just like, "Baby, you can program, like you can like get." They had me going. They like had me say it. And there's pictures of me as a young kid, as a young, pale, like bowl cut kid wearing old Jays gear. Like it was like 1987. 10-year anniversary Blue Jays gear. Like I'm wearing it. I've got a few pictures of me wearing it. So by the time, and the Jays had pretty good teams in the 80s. Like they were making they were making, I don't know if they made the playoffs a lot, but they were like winning. I think they won a division before, but like
they probably did. That was when the Yankees had their downfall.
Yeah, so it corresponds. So we had some pretty good 80s teams. And so by the time, so I was born in 84, I'm 41. And by the time I was kind of, into things, 6 or 7, the Jays had won their first and only back-to-back World Series in 92, 93. And so it was just kind of, the whole country was, super into the Blue Jays. Blue Jays were everywhere. It was a really fun moment. It was a really, really fun moment in Canada. So, I mean, the answer was Blue Jays. It just always was. And like the hats are cute. It's got, I'm not wearing the old logo, but I usually wear the old logo with the similar bird. But I mean, so that helped. But then like the Jays, like I think all of the MLB, I think, went to a dark, sparkly black jersey at some point in the early 2000s. And I kind of lost interest in them then because we had some really bad years. We went from 1993 to 2015 not ever making the playoffs. Like, shocking. It was shocking. So
wild.
Yeah, wild. And so, I kind of lost interest. And then I moved back to Toronto for work in about I moved back to town right when they switched to the blue jerseys. When they switched back to the blue jerseys, I was like, this is awesome. And I realized I could go to a game for $10. Like, after work, I can just waddle down to the Sky Dome and hit up a game. And like, they play like every day and I could watch them on television and shout at them, and me and my friends engage in baseball like it's soap opera because it's every day. You're like, you're on the gossip chains. Who's
what's going to happen today?
Yeah, what's going to happen? Like, anyway. So that's what kind of pulled me back in, is just being close to it, having access, because there's a hockey team in Toronto, the Toronto Maple Leafs, but you can't get tickets for under $200. Like, it's like super corporate, super sold out. So the Jays were just there. So I started going, and I've been going ever since.
Nice. Yeah. No, I love a good cheap baseball ticket. Like, especially, I mean, if you just happen to be like in a city like Denver, for example, those tickets are always cheap because no one wants to go to the Rockies.
That's the thing. Is like, I will say this though, our attendance in Toronto is always in the top 10, top 5, top 10 in the MLB. So we do have really good attendance. But there was many years when we did not. I remember my buddy was telling me he used to be able to get a pass. I think it was like for $25, and it was for every game. You could scan it and take a GA in the 500s. Which is wild. But but like it is accessible. I don't know how the Yankees, how much like you can get a Yankees ticket for a day of, if it's under $50 or whatever. But
they're pretty pricey. Yeah, they're like on the.
That's like our hockey team. Yeah. So there's still, I don't know, like even in like Toronto, they have a pass that I would buy with my friends every year, which is like you go to every game in spring for $50 for the month. There's a $50 pass to every game that month.
Dang.
Which is like, it works up like $5 a game. It's good.
Yeah, every team should offer that. I like that.
Yeah. It just fills the seats early on. That's it.
Yeah. No. Well, and you probably don't get like a ton of tourists who are baseball fans. I mean, maybe you do, but
no, kids are still in school. Like, no. Like, not in April, and it's still cold here. Like, there'll be snow on the ground next week when opening day hits, for sure.
Yeah, there could very well be in New York too.
Yeah,
Denver. But yeah, so who's your all-time favorite player and why? And do you have a favorite non-Blue Jay?
Yeah, I do. So the thing about I'm sure this happens to a lot of people, but all of my favorite players got canceled over the years for various misbehaviors, if you will, and like they should have. Like I agree with that. You can't be doing those things. So, but I will say, I think my favorite player is, all time, I got to give it to Joe Carter. He hit the walk-off home run in I think the first World Series, second. Anyway, but he meant a lot to Toronto. That moment where they called him Jumpin' Joe because he hit the walk-off home run, and one of the only ones in a game 7 World Series, and that meant so much to us that we could have that moment. That moment was so important to everybody, to all of Canada. And like, he isn't going to make the Hall of Fame, but he is, he's big in Toronto. I also will say Carlos Delgado. I think he played in Toronto when there wasn't a lot going on, so he's not as recognized as, say, Jose Bautista, but his stats are better than Vladdy's right now. He was older. It's different. But, again, he was here mashing. He was a great man, and that means something to the city of Toronto and also to me. And in terms of, I guess, my favorite non-J, I don't know. This is like a complicated answer, and like what is my favorite non? There's a lot of them. I don't know. Tony Gwynn. Like, yeah,
that's a great answer.
Like, yeah, I think like, man, looking at his batting average, you're just like, wow. And even like, so for me, because like I because I missed, like I'm on a podcast called the Jaybird Watching Podcast, and the buddies I podcast with, they have like encyclopedic knowledge of all the things, and I'm like, no, I have to go back and watch it. I have to go back and learn, right? Like,
Yeah.
that, like, wow, like this is amazing. So I think a part of me, and a part of anything is like you have a team, you love your team, but then you fall in love with the sport overall and the nuances of that sport and the people in that sport. So it's like, yeah, I think Tony Gwynn, and then I think I really like Bryce Harper. Watching Bryce play, I know that's like a controversial statement because he was such a kind of a polarizing figure early on, but I really love the intensity with which he plays. I really love his cooking videos. I find him very entertaining right now. I don't know what he's going through. Hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. And like I think he did a team first contract, which he was like, he wants to be in Philly. He likes playing in Philly. Yeah, and then and also Vladimir Guerrero Sr. Can't forget Sr. Mm-hmm. His at-bats were wild. Still bitter. He went in the Hall of Fame as an Angel, but whatever. Yeah, I think that's a kind of a roundup. This will bite me later, but I think that's a roundup of my guys.
I like it. Bryce Harper, did you see that he got a Fanatic tattoo?
I did. And like, good for him, man. Again, I think he's going through something, but good for him. And like the Fanatic's the best. Fanatic's the best logo, or best mascot in all baseball.
Totally.
Cute.
Totally agree.
Real cute. I like that.
Yep. Totally agree. Okay. So are there any specific baseball memories outside of the one we're going to talk about soon that stand out to you?
That's not a memory because I don't
maybe you don't remember that. Actually.
I think this is my thing. So I don't know if you're this way, but I'll go to watch an entire season of baseball. I'll go to like 40, 50 games a year, and I will not remember one single game. I'll be like, I don't know, baseball, that was a time that we had together, right? I think that like, I think for me, it was, the bat flip. I'll never forget the bat flip moment, mostly because I was watching it. I was doing some work in a different room. Like I was like, and I was on a delay. And I was like, oh, well, like, obviously, we lost the game. And all my friends ran in because I was writing an essay or something. And all my friends ran in and they were like, and I was like, what? We lost the game. And they're like, and they just held it. Well, I watched it on the 30-second delay, the bat flip, the Jose Bautista bat flip against the Rangers. And that was a big moment because the Jays hadn't had a lot of big moments, right? We haven't had a lot of really big moments. And that was one that we all collectively, especially as a country, was like, that was like a defining moment. But I think that the echoing of the crack of the bat and the applause is still going through the stratosphere in Canada. And like, there's a big mural of the bat flip. Like it just like, this is the thing is like, because the Jays are the team for Canada. We only have them, that it's a shared moment with the country. It defines you as a nation when you have a big baseball moment. A big sports moment. Even like for basketball, it was when Kawhi Leonard, there was a triple bounce and the ball went in and right at the buzzer, and like that was big. So it's like these sports moments are like nationwide felt. Yeah,
I think it's so cool that like you're giving this perspective of like how it unites your country, where like we are all so divided. Yes. Like no, we are state lines, city lines. We're divided.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like we have one team, and you'll see like when the Jays play in Seattle, it's all Jays fans there. It's like all Jays fans go because they come down from Vancouver and they come down from the West Coast. That's it. That's our team. Now I will say I got really fussy when I can't get playoff tickets, and I'm like I'm in Toronto. This is like my team too, though. Yeah. Like, and I always wish the Expos would come back to split the market.
I think everyone wishes the Expos would make a comeback. Do you think so? Like, you can give me this perspective. Yeah. So, was that such a big rivalry before that, like, Expos fans left with the franchise, or did people become then Blue Jays fans?
They then became Blue Jays fans.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they
just stayed.
They stayed. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so it's not unusual to see Jays fans wearing Expos hats. Everybody's welcome to wear Expos hat. It is the best hat, one of the best hats.
It is such a cool logo. I think that like old school Expos logo is the best one in baseball that exists still.
And New Era is always cranking out. I mean, they do a hat run. Even Hat Club does a hat run. They're like Expos, and it's got that like it's like blue and red, and like it's got the tri and one of the hats. But like, yeah, I think it's funny because like I don't associate the Expos with the Nats at all. Because They used to be us. So and like I do hope, like I think Canada could support another baseball team. I hate the Jays ownership is Rogers. They're like evil multi conglomerate. They're one of the richest owners of baseball. And I'm like, I want this market split. They own like the communication. They own everything around the team. Like they bought the Sky Dome, renamed it the Rogers Center, and put a statue of their CEO outside.
Yeah. Monopoly. Okay. Before we get on to like why we're really here, we're here for all these reasons, but there's one specific thing I want to talk about. But before we get to that, if you could have dinner with any baseball player, past or present, who would it be and what would you ask them about? That's like kind of a hard question to answer.
No,
it's a little
I got this. It's going to be something stupid that I want to know. It'll be something like so stupid. That's a good question. I think, easy. It's gonna be Doc Ellis. The LSD game. I think that's it.
What are you gonna ask him about? That's it?
I'm gonna ask him about what, like, was he like I want to talk to him about the LSD game, like throwing a no-hitter on acid. Like I want to hear about that. Absolutely, that's something insane that I want to hear about. Another thing, actually, okay, so there's an XJ named Kelly Gruber. He's since been canceled, but he was like inches away, or no, he got the first triple play in World Series history, but they didn't call it. They made a bad call, and I always think about that. And like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know the answer is Babe Ruth. I mean, for sure. But it's like there's all these little questions you're curious about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like. What was it like to like almost get a no-hitter? It's like these failures in baseball that I'm actually really curious about, right? What was it like to leave the game? Questions like that, like to say it's time to hang it up, or it's these kind of dividing moments that I always think are really, really fascinating. Or I don't know. So I mean, my answer's bad on that one because I can't make up my mind, but like I know I get an opportunity on my podcast we've interviewed some of the 1992-93 Blue Jays, and I asked somebody like Todd Stottlemyre. He was a pitcher for the Jays, and he had a guy rush him on the mound, and he had to fist fight the man, like throw him down. The video was amazing, and I got to ask him like, what was that about? What was it like to body slam a man on the mound? And he was like, well, Liz, like I had to finish the game. I thought I'd get kicked out, but then I didn't. But I was so amped up, I had to finish the game. I mean, Roy Halladay also like best pitcher, Jays pitcher of all time.
Oh yeah,
right. He like I would ask him like, I mean, how did he keep his cool? How did he keep his command under like these insane like stressful situations? Like he was so commanding on the mound. I mean, his mental game must have been crazy. Yeah, apparently he just didn't talk to anybody like during his game days. So I mean, I think
there's a lot of guys like that wouldn't talk to anybody on their game days. It's like, fascinating. For me, I think that makes me think like I want to talk to a lot of these guys about their game day rituals. Like the things I think David Cohn was one who couldn't talk to anyone. Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody, an ex-Blue Jay. He was actually Jeff Fry. So Jeff Fry played almost 10 years in the major, and he hit for the cycle. He's one of the few Blue Jays to hit for the cycle at home. And so I'm talking to him, and I was like, hey, Jeff, did you have kids when you were playing? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, what was it like to balance like having new kids and sleeping and like being ready to play baseball, right? Like, just things like that. Like, I mean, they play so much. They play every day, and you're in these high stakes, and like you want to be locked in, but at the same time, you're like, oh man, like my kid's got lice, like.
Yeah. No, that reminds me like Don Mattingly. I was just watching a whole thing on him on MLB Network the other night, and like that's essentially why he quit playing. Obviously, he had all his back problems too, so like that was a lot of it too. But he had those 3 boys at home, and so he's like, and he quits, and then a year later, the Yankees go on a tear.
Yep.
So he's one I would love to sit down and ask questions as well.
Johnny Baseball, he's no longer our bench coach. He's no longer the Blue Jays bench coach. I think No, he is, or he was the hitting coach. He's still on staff, but I think he does something different now.
I was like, I'm sure he's still with Toronto.
No, he's still with Toronto.
I
just don't know what his role is because they had a real bad batting kind of team average last year. This team could not score runners. They just decided they couldn't do it, and then they didn't do it.
I mean, you had a few guys who really kind of tanked last year too, but
yeah, it's sometimes the Blue Jays are if you look at them on paper, you're this team's going to be awesome, and then you put them all together, and they're just we're not doing that. The soul gets sucked out of them. I think they had a vibes problem that hopefully can hopefully Santander can get that going again.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see him doing that. Great addition there. So, okay. Here we're going to get into the $1 million question that you've probably answered this a million times. You're probably getting sick of talking about
I'm not. I don't. It's so insane. I never get because it is absolutely when you hear about my night, it's wild.
Yeah. I want to hear all about it. So can you walk us through the moment the foul ball came your way? Did you see it coming? Or was it you blinked and it happened? Yeah,
that's the thing is a lot of people you'll see these keyboard warriors be you had your phone out, which I think is sexist. You were taking selfies, which I do sometimes, but I wasn't then. I was sitting. It was Friday night, and we usually sit in the fives, but we had the good seats. So we were in the mid outfield, so between third base and the back outfield wall. So we're on the side, 100s. We got some pretty good seats. It was awesome. It was Friday night. Dome was closed. And so, because it was raining. And I'm just sitting there and I'm watching and I'm talking to my friends and I'm there's a bad call on Bichette. And I was I just yelled, we need robot umps. I turned to my buddy and then I just feel impact. Bam, impact. And I'm I knew exactly what had happened. I got hit by the ball. But the weird thing was, it wasn't in the foul ball. When you see a foul ball, it arcs backwards. This thing was going forwards. So if you look, some internet detectives found the at bat. So if you look at the bat, it goes straight, and then it ropes to this over the net. So it went straight at 110 miles an hour, and then it went bam to the left, and then over the net. So if you were to look it off the bat, you'd be oh, that thing's going straight. Right? Even if you're yeah, that one. And then I saw the at bat. I saw him hit it. It's cool. Turned to my buddy to bitch about something. And then just bam. And so I had gotten hit and I was so embarrassed that I was I remember I had my eyes closed and I thought, I'm gonna play it cool. I will play this cool because I'm good at watching baseball. I know how to watch it. If nothing else, I can watch a baseball game. And I just stood up. So I stood up. And I'm hey guys, my friends are terrible. Everyone's spooked because nobody saw it coming. Also, there's kids all around me. Nobody saw it coming. I was told that people only saw it when my hat flew off. Also, it was because the dome was closed. It was a white ball going 110 miles an hour in a spot it usually wasn't against a white lit background.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is the lighting all funky in there too? Where
it's yeah, it is. So if you look at I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. Wait, where is it? Anyway, I have a dent right there on this side.
My God.
I have a dent. Lovely dent.
She's got a souvenir.
I do. I do not advise this. Even my hat was smashed in. But the thing about it is that where it hit me in the head, it kind of came from above and down. Right? It went above and down. So it came over. Yeah. So it wasn't you could line it up or arc it or see it was coming because it kind of just came as if from hell straight to my face. And the thing is, it was so lucky it didn't hit a kid because it would have killed a kid. So anyway, so I get hit. I stand up. I'm I'm fine, right? I'm fine. And my buddy's no, I'm fine. And children around me are looking terrified. And my head just starts swelling. The photo that this one, it's swell. It was actually bigger than that and more.
It literally looks like a baseball in the picture from here.
It does. So the thing about I'm cool, and I'm fine, and all the kids look terrified. And my buddies are no, and then the Jays staff come down and they're you got to come up for med services, and I was yeah. And they're yeah, and I was okay. I was sure. So, and when it hit me, I remember just hearing a far off scream, somebody else screaming when they, I guess, and I remember feeling my teeth just clashed together because my head bent back, which was probably pretty good. Because if it would have hit me square on, like StatCast had it at 110 miles an hour, if it hit me square on, there would have been some real damage, like real, just like. But because my head kind of flew back, it was mitigated. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is where the story gets weird. All right, this is where baseball traditions and lines are crossed. So I go up to see the Jays. And the guy's like, I'm like walking because I'm full of adrenaline, like pumped.
Oh,
so the guy's like, do you want to get on my cart? And I was like, no, I'm gonna walk. And he's like, I think you should take the ride. And I was like, sweet, oh, fine, I'll take the ride. So the Jays like, I go in this room and like it's kind of quiet in there, and they give me some ice and some Tylenol, and I was like, and they obviously had to sign a form I couldn't read, and I was like, is this it? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna go because like I know there's like 3 pitches left in the game. Game's almost over. I've been in that room for a while. I was like, I'm gonna leave. And my friends are trying to get the ball. So while I got hit and like I had lace marks in my head, it fell into a woman's lap and she wouldn't give me the ball. So the crowd of people were chanting, give her the ball, to give me the ball. All the kids, everyone's chanting. And my friends offer to buy it from her, and she just leaves. And so I'm icing my head on the concourse, and I look insane. And I say, hey, I got really hurt. Can I please have the ball? And her husband and her laughed at me, and they walked away, leaving the game early.
How did they not get their asses like run down and
beat? And like I had her photo. My buddies were like taking her photo, but I was like, it's cool because you know when you're like dealing with somebody who's like obviously has like it's just problematic, and you're like, cool. Yeah. I'm sure you have bigger problems. I remember saying like, that's cool. Have a good night. Like they laughed at me. I was really messed up and they laughed at me. And because at the end of the day, like
a ball could have killed you.
Yes. Like, she was like, well, it bounced off my shoulder. It's like, okay. So it's like, cool. And so I finally I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna stay. I was like, there's 3 pitches left. So the Jays were getting no hit up at this point against Tampa. Come on. So I'm like, well, let's stay for the rest of the game because we had the good seats. So we go, I watch 3 more pitches or 3. Yeah, there's like 3 more outs left. All right. So I go, and then like the game's over, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, let's just go home. My friend's like, no. And so I'm like, I'll just walk to the hospital. So I was like, sweet. Okay. I'm going to walk to the hospital if you guys say so. Which actually my decision making wasn't very good at the time. It was like terrible. I obviously could have had a brain bleed. It could have been really bad. I should have gone to the hospital right away. But again, like adrenaline was pumping me. I felt like amazing. I was like, okay. Like kind of like a wrestler, you know, like a wrestler's like.
I would have had an anxiety attack and like thought I was dying.
No, I was like, I'm fine.
Ask you like about that, but you're like, no, I'm
no, like, I'm fine. I was like, I'm fine. I had plans to go party after, so I was like, whatever. Like, I'll just meet you. I'll stay for the game. Let's go to the bar. No, like, don't do that. Terrible idea. So I was like, okay, cool. So I got to the hospital and I looked like a joke person because I'm wearing all gear. I'm in my full like Jay's jersey, Jay's hat, and obviously I've been hit in the face by a baseball. Like there's no questions about it. So I walk in and the security guard's like, whoa. And I'm like, okay, I should be here. Excellent. So anyway, so I go and like I get scanned because they're like, we have to scan your face to make sure it's not shattered, but you got to scan your brain to make sure everything's okay. And I'm like, cool. Yeah, sure.
Do you think?
And so the thing is, like, right when I was leaving the stadium and my head's all messed up, I was sending my sister-in-law a photo to say I can't make my nephew's first Little League game tomorrow. It's like that was the photo.
Yeah,
that was my photo. Yeah, I can't make it. I'm not gonna make it. Here's a selfie of me outside the stadium. Like that was it. So it was a weird night. Like it was such a weird night. Like it was a weird night because the Jays were like, I was icing my head. I almost died. And I was like, can I get a free t-shirt? And they're like, no. They gave me a rally towel and a fidget spinner.
They said no to a t-shirt?
Yes. I said no. And so I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, that felt weird. I was like, and then like the lady stole my ball and like I look insane. And I'm like, this feels weird. Like the night felt weird. So I'm like, I'm embarrassed. Also, this whole time I'm dreadfully embarrassed because I got hit. We know the risk of going to the baseball games. You know the risk. Like we know that our role is to keep your eye on play during, like on the field of play during at bats. We know that. I like felt like I had failed that. I felt so stupid, even though like literally it was just like, bam. But like, and so when people are like, you weren't paying attention, you got to pay attention. I'm like, do you watch a baseball game like this?
Well,
No,
and like with the protective net now, like you just don't think it's gonna like come flying over.
Yes, and so it was insane because it was like it was in the outfield lower. The ball gained momentum like fast, like and so I had a weird night. So I was like, I'm gonna leave town. I'm just gonna leave town. I'm gonna go because there's a smaller town near Toronto. I'm gonna go and hang out with my brother and his kids and just like I'll miss the little league game, but at least I'll be there. At least I'll show up. Now, they had warned me at the hospital. They were like, Liz, this thing in your head, it's going to go down. And you're going to have a really bad black eye. And it's going to go down further than your eye into your face. And I was like, sure, man, whatever. Like, it'll last like what, like 2 weeks? No, it lasted 2.5 months and it went into both eyes. Like, I had 2 bad black eyes for 2.5 months. And not only that, but it's like, I guess all the fluid in my face hurt so badly. Like my nose hurt, my nose was swollen. The whole thing just kind of gravity. Don't.
That is fascinating.
Anyway, so I will also say this. So after I got hit, and the lady ran after my ball, all of these kids ran up to me and offered me like their bobbleheads or things that they had waited in line for or stuff. And I was like, it was so touching. I was like, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. And I met somebody later who was working the press box above, and they were like, Liz, we thought you were dead. And then we saw these kids run to you. And I was like, yeah, there was like a ton of kids. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, again, that was a weird night. I'm like,
better than the Blue Jays did.
Right, exactly. So it was like an ups and downs of like human spirit. It was like, I got hit. I'm embarrassed. Somebody stole the ball. That was not how you do things. The kids run up to me and the Jays treat me weird. It was just a lot of emotions to happen. And it was like sitting there on country night. That was like the theme night. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I leave town and I'm like sitting and I'm like, I think I put like a movie on. Like I put a movie on for my niece and nephew. I look insane. I don't feel well. And I just sent a tweet. And the tweet said, hey, Blue Jays, I got like face smashed by a foul ball from Bo Bichette. I stayed for the entire game and I didn't even get the ball. Can you hook a girl up? So I'm like, and I'm embarrassed to send the tweet too. Cause I'm like, this is like, I know it's weird, but like I had a weird night. Let's see what happens, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I just wanted a game ball, just like any kind of whatever. And I'm just like, you're probably gonna say no, it's cool. I'll shoot my shot. And I pick up my phone 10 minutes later, and it has 6 million views and 10,000 retweets. And then I went, I was like, okay, cool. I was like, this is not what I wanted. And I look and I'm like, everyone's going to be so mean to me. I bet you everybody's roasting me because I'm a girl. I was at the baseball game and like everybody was super nice to me. Everybody was just like, we hope you're okay. Jay's hook this girl up. So I'm like, okay, weird, cool. I mean, sure. It like, you can't even feel it. And your Twitter is just like one wall of red. And you're like, okay, cool. And I'm like, great. So I returned to the city the next like 2 days later, and I'm like, my face is just disaster. And it hurts. And I like, and at this point, the concussion has kicked in. I'm nauseous. Everything's spinning all the time. I keep forgetting. I had a stutter for months. I kept forgetting where I was and getting lost. But I was like, okay. But I was like, still pretty happy. Right. So, and I'm walking through the city. I get off at the Union Station. Right. It's kind of right now near where the Rogers Center is. And I'm embarrassed again. Somebody looks at me and says, how are you doing? We've been so worried about you. And I just started to cry. And I was like, I'm okay. Thank you so much for asking. Right. Like, thank you so much for asking. And so
no idea who this is.
No. No. And then I'm walking further and some guy's like, can we get a selfie? And then obviously some guy's like, did it really happen? I'm like, yeah. So like, cool. And that's like, this is like, so it's like before the Topps card hit, like before anything, I'm just like 2 days later and I'm embarrassed. And like, but the media are covering it. Like it's being picked up on like Sports Illustrated, but nobody's talking to me. It's just like really bad reporting is happening. And then I get like a call. My buddy's like, Liz, like Topps is looking for you. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'm like, sure. Okay. I'm like, all right, sure. At this point, I am so brain-zoodled. I'm just like, sure. Okay. I'm so brain-zoodled that I'm like, sure. So I get a message being like, we want to make you a baseball card and we'll give you all of the cards. And I was just like, I was literally walking and I just jammed like, yeah, sure. Thumbs up. Sounds good. Now I didn't know. I guess I didn't realize what a big deal that was. I think I realized it. I realized it later. when the press came calling. Then the press like came calling. I had to do like the New York Times. I was in People magazine. I was in Washington Post. I did 5 days for consecutive press, just consecutive press. And like which is fine because like my concussion was so bad I couldn't sleep. I just like couldn't sleep. So I was up at 5 a.m. just doing interviews and just being awake. And like if you look, it's like so it took me a while to get the Topps cards. Like they arrived like 3 months later, which probably was for the best. Because if you look, I got hurt, and 2 days later, I'm a baseball card, and I have thousands of people asking me for stuff.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but it's like being a collectible is complicated, especially when you're like pretty brain damaged. So I had a rule. I wasn't gonna let anybody like give any away, but somebody had forged the baseball card online and sent me 100 for free so I could give them out to kids. So I had something I could give to kids who like I saw, like I had something I could give out, right? Because people like I was back at the Jays game like 3 days later. And like everybody like knew who I was high-fiving because I had tickets and like that's what you do with your friends. Already plans that we were gonna go. And so it was like I was really embraced by the fans. Like we didn't have a lot going on the field last year. Like there was nothing. So I remember somebody just kept like was walking by and fed me the hot dog out of their hand. And I was like, okay. And like I didn't pay for beer once last year.
Weird behavior.
Yeah, it's fine. Like it's and like
did you say you didn't have to buy any beer after that?
No. Like either people would buy me beer or like the stadium. Like there's people like they were just awesome. So then
how about at like
really
bars? How about at bars like outside of Rogers Center? Are you just like out in Toronto and people like recognize you all the time?
It happened. Well, my face healed. It happened less, but yeah, like I walked into a local bar and like the guy was like, "I'm waiting for you to come in," and just hands me a beer. Okay, and like this is the thing. So, the Jays were weird about it. Like I'm not gonna lie, the Jays were weird. They were spooked about the whole thing, but the fan base was so nice and so kind to me and embraced me, and like it was like so lovely. Like that one of the cool things that happened was that a little girl was like, "I know you," and the dad came up and was like, "Hey, my girls recognize you from the baseball card," and so I got to give them like the like kind of knockoff baseball cards, which is like kind of what you want because you want your friends to be able to put them on the fridge. Like you want that. Yeah. So, and they took their photo and the dad was like, reached out to me later on Twitter and was like, that made my girl's season that they met you.
Oh,
right. And I'm like, right. And I'm just like, this is awesome. And so,
it's circulating again, right? This week I've seen.
Oh yeah. So we'll get into that in a second. There's nothing more terrifying. Yeah. I will get into that in a second. So like, I got to like make a lot of friends and like people want to talk to you about their fandom. So I'll be walking on the street and people will recognize me still and be like, hey, and they'll talk to you about their Blue Jays fandom. And it's the best. Like that is the best to be able to be like, people want to share their baseball fandom with you. And like, it's really fun. And so I was like at a baseball game, I don't know, like last season, kind of end of season. And I was sitting in the bleacher seats in the outfield. And I looked to these teens beside me, 16-year-old kids, I think they had gloves. And I was like, if you guys catch a ball that comes near me, I'll give you each $100. And I didn't know these kids, do not know them. And they look at me and they said, but you're a Topps card. Bam. Boom. And I'm like, yeah, I was like, cool. Cause like, I never thought I'd be on a baseball card because I'm a girl, right? Girls, it's different for women. And I hope that changes now with WNBA and with more women's sports and with Topps and there's market for that now. But it's like, I never thought, so I never really coveted them the same way that men do. But yes, Topps put me on a baseball card. They gave me 110 of them. Here we go. There it is right there. It's like, it's pretty insane.
Fantastic.
And so, but the thing about it, so I'm like, okay, I've only sold maybe seven of them. One sold for $3,000 Canadian, 2,000 American. And I'm donating all the proceeds to a kids concussion hospital in Toronto. Because like, wow, I don't like, that's it. When those kids came up to me, I was like, I got to do something for those kids. Like somehow, right? For those kids who showed me such love and empathy in that moment, I was like, nah, I gotta do something. So I know. So like, I'm actually really pumped. So I wanted to wait till I felt better because like I felt bad till about 2 months ago, like really bad. Now I'm back in action. The stutter's gone away. The dent is still there. But yeah, I'm stoked to donate. I think it's gonna be about $5,000 Canadian. I'm gonna give, and yeah,
Oh my God. That is so incredible.
But this is the thing. It's like the city of Toronto, the people of the Blue Jays fans were so lovely to me. I will never forget that. And it's like, it's all, and that's true. But like at the same time, it's like, you know, I can't explain. I mean, it feels like nothing, but everything all at once. Do you know what I mean? Like, and also like if people want to meet me, I always want to meet you. I will definitely meet you. And so even like yesterday, I was buying a vintage, like, you know, the vintage, like, you probably have them. Actually, hold on.
I saw your post.
And vintage jacket. Yeah, it's sick. And like the kid was like, "Hey Liz, like, can we take a selfie? Like, you're famous." And I'm like, "Okay, like I'm not, but like respect to you. Sure, man, whatever you want." And so like it's been really cool to connect with people like that. And like it's such an honor for somebody to just want to meet you or want to talk to you like this and to know a little bit more about you when I just sat in the wrong chair. I was just sitting in the wrong chair at the same time. Like, thank God it was me in that chair and not a kid, because that kid would be dead. Right. Like it is so worrisome when you think about the whole thing. But it has been like, yeah, it's been such a weird and wild ride. So like, yeah, that's, to give the money. I was like, I don't want to benefit from this. Like, I'm okay. And like, I don't really want to sell very many of them because like, I don't want to. Like, I just straight up like,
they're yours. Like,
they're mine. And so,
what you want.
That's the whole thing is like, I will sell some. I'll sell one or more for charity. I'm pretty much done though selling them, because they feel personal. Like they feel quite personal. Like it was such an honor from Topps to like even to be like, whoa, you look insane. We'll make you a baseball card. I'm like, great. Like, sure, man. And yeah, I don't know. It's just with the even like I will leave spaces and people will whisper she's a Topps card, and like I don't know, and people are like, well, what's it like that people know you? Because like I will enter a space somewhere like online or something, and everybody knows what happened. Everybody saw it. Like that thing probably got 50 million views, easy.
Oh yeah, easy. Even I was like, we were on this call last week. I was like, how do I recognize this girl? I know I've seen your face a million times, but I couldn't put it together. And that's probably because you didn't have a big
yeah, that's it. I'm actually cuter in real life, but whatever. We take what we're given. And so it's really insane for like I was at the Jays game and I was like sitting in a section and it was not my section. Like, and it was obvious because the seats were empty, but I was just sitting there with my buddy, like, and so the workers, like the security guards, like, are you Liz McGuire? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, we're gonna move. I'm so sorry. And he's like, it's an honor to have you in my section. And I was like, sweet, thanks, man. Thank you. Like, cool. Okay.
That's so
like
awesome.
So
your niece, sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
So your nieces and nephews, do they realize the magnitude of this? Like, do they realize that you're a celebrity now?
They don't because it's weird. Because they're just like somebody will talk to me and my niece will be like, it's from the news, right? I'm like, yeah, it's because I was on the news. Right. And all this means to them is they've got to wait while I talk to people while they want to get popcorn or watch the game. Like that's
okay. So this is just a massive inconvenience for them at this point.
Except for my 16-year-old nephew who got to meet Aaron Judge, when I got on-field batting practice passes.
No way.
Yeah, so I got on-field finally the Jays. The Jays gave me some on-field passes, which was awesome. So I got to go down for batting practice. Bo Bichette would not come out. There you go. I got Kevin Kiermaier to give him like one of my like cards to be like, tell him to come out. And Bo never came out. Nothing.
Okay, this is weird. Like, is he ashamed? It's not his fault.
No, he's very Bo was having a bad season last year, and he's also very, 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 very shy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was odd that I did think if I got hit by like Springer, George Springer would have reached out for sure. Vladdy would have reached out.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so like we were down there, and so some Jays players came over, but Aaron Judge looked at my nephew, nodded at him. Aaron Judge nodded back, and I'm like, Finn, I think you guys had a moment. And he's like, yeah, I think he's going to come back. And he did. He walked right over my nephew, signed his ball. My nephew's like, how'd you get so good at hitting? And Aaron Judge is like, I don't know. I just kind of do it. And then he signed, there you go, signed my ball right there, Aaron Judge.
Oh my God.
And like that, like, and so I like, while I have problems with the Yankees, because you have to if you're not a Yankees fan, I do very much love and appreciate Aaron Judge for being and knowing that he is Mr. Baseball, to be that ambassador for the sport.
He's an incredible person. And these are the kind of stories like I love that you amplify it, because fan bases like love to hate on him, but then I mean, he always has time for kids. Always.
He always has time for kids. And like, I was so touched by it. They're like, yeah, Aaron Judge, great, awesome guy. Really, really touched me. And like, I will like, yeah, I'll collect Aaron Judge gear now. Like, yeah, for sure I will. Like, love that. And so, yeah, so it's like, because the amount, it's hard to comprehend if it's not you or like what, because they don't have kids. Nobody has the internet. My nieces and nephews, outside of my older nephew, I have 8 of them. They don't have the internet. They don't have phones. You can't, the world is very small, as it should be when you're 8 and 12. And so, yeah, but they know that I'm given opportunities. Like, I'll be like, oh, here you go. Like, I will literally be like, oh, here you go. Here's a signed baseball from one of the players that you like. You know what I mean? Like, here you go. Like, yeah. But the thing is, like, that's, I think my point, though, is like, all the stuff is cool. But the thing that I love most is going to the game. That's it. Going to the game with my nieces and nephews, hanging out, watching it, talking about it. In fact, like, somebody was like, hey, Liz, like, what do you want for next season? And I was like, I want to go to the baseball game. I want to fight about balls and strikes with my friends. And he's like, isn't that what you're doing when you got hit? And I was like, it was beautiful then. Like, it was beautiful then, and it'll be beautiful again, right? Like, because baseball is inherently magic. I truly believe that. And like, as a collective, it's about us as a collective, which is like why I very much love the fans and people that I met through this kind of experience, is to share that experience and that love of having something be bigger than you, where you inherently need to have so much faith, right? It's a game of faith. It's like, it's like, you know, you show up at the Church of Baseball, you pray and you want for something to happen. Most often it doesn't, but sometimes it does. Like, it's the only time I've ever seen miracles. Like, right? And so I think that like that is the focus for me. I remember like, you know, yeah, people recognize me on the street. People still do. I'm a Topps card. All that's awesome. But going to a baseball game with your friends and crushing beers is the best. Like,
just being a normal fan.
Yeah, like I've said this like before, but I was like, I just want to be a normal face baseball fan and just go to the game. And like, it's cool. Like the story that I experienced, what I've experienced, not dying, was awesome. And I've had people in the comments of my things just often be like, what are you gonna do in your 15? Isn't your 15 minutes of fame over? And I was like, I don't respond, but I'm like, it was never supposed to be. It was never supposed to be, man. Like,
I wasn't trying to die that day. Like,
no,
not really my fault.
But I think that's it. And I think like what you said, like, I know I'm back. So somebody, I guess there's a website, the Baseballer, posted some old content, and I will tell you this: there's nothing more shocking than sitting on your couch in your jammies and scrolling through on a Saturday, like, oh man, there's my face, and 20,000 people like it, and everybody's got an opinion. And so I will kind of sometimes chirp in and be like, because they're always like, I bet she'd put her phone down. I'm like, no, I'm gonna watch a baseball game. And like, but like, there's no point, because if you're a woman, they'll be like, you weren't watching the game. If you were a man, it'd be like, why didn't you catch it? So everyone's got a point of view, and I just kind of focus on the light and the kind of, I mean, like, whatever, man, I'm a Topps card. You say what you want. I'm a Topps card. So, but like at the same time, it's just like, it is jarring. That jump scare is, oh man. And like, I looked at my Instagram, it had 64,000 views in the last 2 days. 64,000.
It's crazy. I asked you last week, we were on that call together, and I asked you to come on here, and then like we get through the weekend, and then all of a sudden you're going viral again. I was like,
yeah,
oh
I don't want that. Here's the thing, it's like, it's fine. It's like, but no, I'm good. I really just want to be a normal face baseball fan. That's it. Like, I like, I don't know, but like, this thing is like, I'm very grateful for the people, I don't know, the people who I've met, the people who also love the game, and kind of my weird my weird trajectory here. It's been a weird ride. Like I had a 2-page spread in the New York Times. Like, sure, okay, wow. Yes, right. And here's the thing: is like, I have a job. I work for a university think tank. Like, it's so far removed from this.
I work for a university think tank, so I didn't know that. That's a cool connection we have.
See, right? It's so removed. And also the brain injury it's not good for that. But that's the thing, is like, I am so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for the love that people have shown me, the kindness that people have shown me. And I'm like, and I'm so also just so delighted that it's almost opening day. And like, yeah, I think that's like, I don't know what else I could ask for. I'm just so happy that I didn't hit my nose. Like, also that my nose didn't get smashed in, or my face, like my further down structural regions. But like, yeah, I don't know. It was a wild ride. Wish I heard from Bo Bichette. Did not hear from Bo Bichette.
Bo Bichette, you suck.
I don't know. No. I can't say that. Like, wish I would have, but like, come on, Bo. No, I know, man. The whole thing was weird, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm a collectible. And I'm really stoked to, just donate my money. And like, I was given like Schneider's Meat Company, their meat company in Canada, gave me $110 of meat, and I was like, cool. I just like donated it.
The manager's family?
No. There's actually a meat company that sponsors the Blue Jays. Okay, so there's
Snyder is the manager, right?
And there's a player called Schneider as well. But there's the hot dog company is also called that in Canada. And so we have Looney Dog Night, which where you get like for $1, you get a hot dog, right? And one time I ate so many, like my shoes wouldn't go on. It was a disaster. Don't eat 3 maybe. Don't eat 8. Anyway,
the sodium.
Mistakes were made, but like they gave me $110 of the meat and like shouted me out, and they were like, "Hey, Liz, we didn't want you to miss, Looney Dog Day while you recovered." And like, sweet. I also donated that money to a Native men's shelter. Like, wow. I don't need I was like, I do not want to profit from this at all.
This is amazing. I didn't like, these are the things the media doesn't tell us.
No, it doesn't. The meme, it doesn't come on the meme. No, but often like it was reported in all the news. And all the news is that I made sure to say that I was donating proceeds to a kids concussion hospital in Toronto. But like, that's it. I guess like that was my weird story. But it was what a weird night though. That was a weird night at the baseball park.
Weird night.
And sorry, and they did. I do have a signed Bo Bichette ball. It's in my dresser. I can't look at it. I'm still sore about I'm just like, it feels weird. It feels not sore about it. It's just.
Well, was that from before?
No, the team gave me that ball, but the team gave me they gave me batting practice passes, which was awesome, and a signed Bo Bichette ball. But I'm like, it's too soon. I just can't look at it as a prize yet.
Bo, you got to revive yourself this year in more ways than one.
Oh my God, he hit 4 home runs last year. 4.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to ask, do you think, because I was going to ask anyway, what fans can expect to see from the Blue Jays this year? What predictions do you have? Yeah. And do you think Vlad and Bo are going to have a big year since it's their campaign year?
Yeah, I think so. So this is what I think. I know that we're better than last year. That's we shouldn't be last in the AL East again. But the AL East, as you know, it's a really, really competitive league. Their division. So we're better than last year. We should be for run production with Santander, as well as, we got Scherzer. Who knows how long he's going to last, but that's fun. It was fun. Listen, man, it just felt good to be able to sign somebody. It was like nobody wanted our money for so long, the Jays' money. So now that at least somebody took it.
You guys have kind of become the Cardinals' little brother because you're starting to get the old guys on their way out. You got Votto last year. You got Scherzer.
Votto never made it. We were so bummed that Votto. I wanted to go to a Votto game so bad.
He never made it past, because did he just sign a minor league deal?
Yeah. Okay. He never played a game for the Jays. And so although there's baseball cards of him in Jays uniforms, but they're photoshopped.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
And so, but I think Vladdy's made some pretty weird statements to the media. He thinks he's 700 top, 500 bottom. I don't agree with that. I'd say 500, 550, I think. He's going to have a good year, and Bo needs to. That's the thing is, like, it's on Bo if he doesn't. Vladdy's going to get paid, but Bo had a bad year last year. It's in his best interest to go to free agency. I think everybody knows that. But our ownership, they don't really say anything, and they're not very likable, and I hate them. But they said last week that they are convinced they'll have Vladdy signed and extended. And they don't just say that. Like, when the media asked if Vladdy was a generational player, they said no. Like, they're not kind and cuddly, our front office. So I think that they have him pretty near locked up, which I want to see. I do want to see that because at least we know what we're building towards. Because, like, I couldn't even tell you, at the end of last season, who our core guys were going to be. Right? We have an aging team.
You need that generational guy that you just build a team around.
Exactly, and we don't have that. But with Vladdy, we will have that. But, like, Bo's story, I don't know. I wish him all the best. I want to keep him. But who knows? It's a long season. But I don't think Vladdy's gonna have a better season than last year. I think Bo will. There you go.
Interesting. Okay, there we go. Here's hoping for a less eventful, maybe less viral, but exciting season for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I've made so many friends around the ballpark. It's just going to be like a really lovely time of high fives and crushing beers and like talking baseball with all my like new baseball buddies. That's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you got all the like, oh my God's out of the way. And this year it's more of like, oh, hey.
Yeah, that's like pretty much just what's up?
It's like in passing. Yeah. That's a wrap on today's episode. A huge thank you to Liz for coming on and sharing your story, Liz. One that proves baseball always finds a way to surprise us. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, comment, and share wherever you get your podcasts. It really does help. And if you have a wild baseball story of your own, hit me up on Instagram at babesmedia. I would love to hear it. You can also follow Liz on Twitter for her baseball takes at Lizzie with 10 Z's. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I didn't really think about that when I made the username, but you can just Google Liz McGuire Topps Card Twitter. I will pop up. You can also find me on Instagram at idiotfish. Again, didn't really think about that name when I made it up. It's mostly about how I'm bad at fishing, but do it a lot. Yeah, you can catch me there. I'm also part of the crew for the Jay Bird Watching podcast. That's easy. It's at BirdwatchingGC. That's our username on all kind of platforms. But yeah, hit me up. I'm always down to talk baseball, answer any questions, just like, I don't know, make some buds.
Let's go. All right, we'll be back next time with more amazing baseball stories. So until then, keep your eye on the ball and stay out of the foul zone.